In the last video, we spoke about how we are not supposed to handle navigation inside of a React Router DOM application. Just to kind of drill this whole point home, I'm going to flip back over to my app and I'm going to open up my Chrome inspector and then select the Network tab. I'll then make sure I'm filtering by all requests. Now notice how whenever I click on this anchor tag right here, I make a request over to localhost 3000/page2. If I click on that request, I can then click on response right here, and I'll see that I am making an entire request to fetch the HTML document for my application. After I get this HTML document back, I then make some follow-up requests inside my browser to get our JavaScript bundle that has all of our code with our React application inside of it. That entire process right there is duplicated when I then go back to page 1. So every time I'm clicking on a link, I make a request for an entirely new HTML document. And that dumps all the data I had loaded into my React and Redux application. So let's now talk about how we're going to fix this and actually handle navigation inside of a React Router application. All right, so back inside of my app.js file, I'm going to find my import statement for React Router DOM at the top. In addition to browser router and route, I'm also going to pull in this link thing. So this link thing right here is a React component that we're going to use in place of any anchor tags that we ever want to show inside of our application. So I'm going to find my page 1 anchor tag right here, and I'm going to replace it with a link tag instead. Now when we put down a link tag, we do not make use of the href prop. Instead, we call it to. So this is essentially a link that when clicked is going to take the user to the route /page2. So now we'll fix up the other anchor tag down here as well. And I'll change the href to 2 as well. So now that we've got the correct way to handle navigation in here, I'm going to remove the text that says bad on both those components. All right, so let's now save this. And now when I flip back over, I'm going to clear my request log, and then I will click on the links that are displayed on the screen. And you'll notice that when I click on these links, I am not reloading the application at all. I do not get any additional requests being made for any additional HTML document or anything like that. Now, if you want to see something really interesting, click the element inspector right here, and then inspect one of those anchor tags. Well, I said anchor tag, I meant to say link tag, but at either rate, when you click on that thing and inspect it, you'll notice that what actually showed up on the screen from the link component is an anchor tag anyways. So when you use the link tag, you're still showing an anchor component or an anchor tag on the screen. So let's talk about exactly what that link tag is doing for us and how it's preventing the page from being reloaded, even though we are using an anchor tag anyways. Okay, here we go. So anytime that we want a user to be able to navigate around our application, we're going to add in a link tag. And it's going to list the route that the user is going to navigate to when they click on it as the to prop. Now here's the really important thing. Whenever a user clicks on the anchor tag, that internally gets rendered by that link, because again, it does show an anchor tag when it shows up on the screen. React Router is going to automatically prevent the browser from navigating over to that new route in the traditional form. So it's going to keep the browser from trying to navigate to that new route and refetching an HTML document. Now the URL is still going to change. The URL still changes. The history object that we discussed a little bit ago is going to see the updated URL. So it's going to take that URL and send it off to the browser router. The browser router is then going to communicate that URL down to all the different route components, and the route components are then going to re-render to show a new set of components depending upon the path that the user is now visiting. So the entire key here is this step right here. When you make use of that link tag, we're still making use of an anchor element on the screen. However, React Router is going to detect a click on an anchor tag and override the default behavior and keep your browser from navigating away. So when you make use of the link tag, we are not dumping all of our React and JavaScript data. We are just showing a different set of components on the screen. Just so you know, this entire idea of not making an additional request for a separate HTML document when we click on a link is where the term single page app or SPA comes from. Single page app means that we are only loading up a single HTML document. We still allow the user to navigate around our application by clicking on various link tags, but when they navigate around, they still are making use of the same HTML document. We are just showing and hiding different sets of components based upon the URL. That's how we handle navigation inside of a React Router application. We are essentially tricking the user into thinking that they really are going to different pages, but in fact, we're just showing and hiding different components. Okay, so now that we understand how navigation is done, let's take another quick break and continue in the next video.